What if one man tried to change the religion of an entire civilization? A civilization that had worshipped hundreds of gods for over 1,000 years. Temples destroyed, ancient traditions banned, priests stripped of power, and all because of one man, one pharaoh, who believed there was only one true god. His name was Akhenaten. But after he died, Egypt tried to erase him from history. Who was this mysterious king, and why did ancient Egyptians hate him so much? Before Akhenaten was born, Egypt was one of the most powerful civilizations on Earth. For centuries, Egypt had worshipped a vast pantheon of gods. There was Ra, the great sun god, Osiris, ruler of the underworld, and perhaps the most powerful of all, Amun. The priests of Amun controlled enormous temples and vast wealth. Their influence rivaled even the pharaoh. At this time, Egypt was ruled by the powerful 18th dynasty, a golden age of prosperity and empire. And into this powerful world, a prince was born. Akhenaten was not born with that name. His original name was Amenhotep IV. He was the son of the great pharaoh Amenhotep III, one of Egypt's most successful rulers. Amenhotep III ruled during a time of immense wealth and stability. Massive temples were built, art flourished, Egypt's power stretched across the ancient world. When Amenhotep IV inherited the throne around 1353 BCE, Egypt seemed unstoppable. But no one knew that the new pharaoh would soon shake the foundations of Egyptian religion. Early in his reign, Amenhotep IV began to focus on a lesser-known solar deity called Aten. Aten was not portrayed like traditional Egyptian gods. There was no human body, no animal head. Instead, Aten was represented simply as the sun disk whose rays extended to Earth. To Amenhotep IV, Aten was not just another god. He believed Aten was the only true god. And this belief would change Egypt forever. In one of the most shocking decisions in ancient history, Amenhotep IV changed his own name. He became Akhenaten. The name meant effective for Aten, or servant of Aten. This was not just symbolic, it was a declaration of religious revolution. Temples dedicated to other gods began to close. Images of traditional deities were removed. Most shocking of all, the powerful god Amun was banned. This meant the priests of Amun suddenly lost their enormous influence, and they were not happy. Akhenaten was not alone in his revolution. By his side stood one of the most famous queens in history, Nefertiti. Nefertiti was more than just a royal wife. In many carvings and reliefs, she appears participating in religious ceremonies with the pharaoh. Sometimes she is even shown performing rituals normally reserved for kings. Her influence during Akhenaten's reign was extraordinary. Today, her iconic bust remains one of the most recognizable artworks from ancient Egypt. Akhenaten made another dramatic decision. He abandoned the ancient capital city of Thebes. Instead, he ordered the construction of a completely new capital, a city dedicated entirely to Aten. The city was called Akhenaten, meaning horizon of Aten. Today, we know this place as Amarna. Within just a few years, thousands of workers built palaces, temples, houses, and roads in the desert. Akhenaten became the center of a new religious world. Akhenaten's reign also brought one of the most unusual artistic revolutions in Egyptian history. Traditional Egyptian art followed strict rules. Pharaohs were always shown as strong, perfect, and godlike. But during Akhenaten's reign, art became strangely different. Statues showed the pharaoh with a long skull, narrow chest, and wide hips. Royal family scenes showed intimate moments. Akhenaten and Nefertiti kissing their daughters, holding them, playing with them. These human moments had rarely been shown in royal art before. Historians still debate whether this was realism, symbolism, or something else entirely. Akhenaten's religious revolution created powerful enemies. The priests of Amun had lost their wealth and influence. Traditional worship had been outlawed. Many Egyptians were deeply uncomfortable abandoning their ancient gods. And while Akhenaten focused on religion, Egyptian empire abroad began to weaken. Foreign territories started rebelling. Egypt's once powerful empire began to show cracks. After ruling about 17 years, Akhenaten suddenly disappeared from history. The exact circumstances of his death remain unclear, but what happened afterward was dramatic. Egypt quickly abandoned the worship of Aten. Temples of the old gods reopened, and a young king came to power. That young king was Tutankhamun. Originally named Tutankhaten, he soon changed his name to honor the god Amun. This signaled the end of Akhenaten's religious revolution. The capital returned to Thebes, the worship of Aten faded, and Egypt returned to its ancient traditions. But the story didn't end there. Later Egyptian rulers went even further. They tried to erase Akhenaten from history. His statues were smashed, his temples dismantled, his name removed from official king lists. For centuries, it was as if Akhenaten had never existed. Thousands of years later, archaeologists uncovered the ruins of Amarna. Hidden beneath the desert sands were the remains of Akhenaten's lost city. Slowly, historians pieced together the story of the pharaoh who tried to change everything. A pharaoh who believed the entire world should worship one god. Today, Akhenaten remains one of the most mysterious rulers in history. Was he a visionary who introduced one of the earliest forms of monotheism? Or a radical ruler whose ideas were simply too extreme for his time? The answer may never be certain, but one thing is clear. For a brief moment in ancient history, one pharaoh tried to change the gods themselves, and the world of ancient Egypt would never be the same again.